Alright people, today is another video. Today we're going to do something different here on YouTube. Today is going to be another episode of Sex Talk. And we're going to talk about something that most YouTubers talk about, but we always give the answer to it, but we never actually sit down and we never actually really try to properly diagnose the problem. We never really examine it and really try to go deep and dive into the math and science and the psychology of rejection of the opposite sex. All right, so let's talk about it. Why do men get angry and upset when women reject us? See, rejection is a very powerful and strong word. Whenever you see a beautiful, physically, sexually attractive woman from the age of 18 to 29, whether she may be a black woman, a white woman, a Latino woman, an Asian woman, or women from foreign countries, a lot of times we see a woman and we go after her, and I swear to God, this happens all the time. 99.999% of the time, you're going to get rejected and shot down by a woman you like. Now, if it's a woman you don't find physically, sexually attractive, you be trying to reject her and she be liking you. But if it's a girl you like, she rejects you. It's funny, isn't it? That's how math and science works sometimes. Or should I say, that's how life works sometimes. Now, what we're going to talk about in this video, we're going to talk about how does self-improvement, how does rejection make you a better person? Now, it's true that Michael Jordan said it best, one of the greatest professional basketball players of all times. Woo! The nature boy! Yeah! Hey, it's Tuesday. I got 3 days that I don't have to go to work, so I'm happy. I'm excited. So forgive me if my energy level is way over the top. Yeah! Okay. Michael Jordan said it best. Without the Detroit Pistons in the NBA playing basketball in the 1980s, before Michael Jordan started winning NBA championships, he said it best 20 to 25 years ago that if it was not for them, Michael Jordan would have never been the greatest basketball player ever. Michael would have never won 6 championships. He would have never had 2 three-peats. He would never been the player that we know he is. And Michael said, without the Detroit Pistons, he would have never reached that level of greatness. And Michael Jordan said back then he would have never admitted in his prime, but Michael said it way after he retired, that if it weren't for what Isaiah Thomas and those guys did on that team, he probably would have never won any NBA championships. Michael said that the way that they pushed him, the way that they would hurt him on the court, the way they would make him stay up late at night thinking about what he had to do to get to the next level, having him get up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and go into an empty gym and hit three-pointer after three-pointer, 2,000 to 3,000 three-pointers. Michael Jordan said if it weren't for them doing that to him, he would have never been as great as he is. And some women are just like that. Some women, see, when women reject us, women have a lot of reasons for rejecting us. A lot of times you say, well, it's because I'm too short. And unfortunately, you can't fix being too short. Women will say you're fat and out of shape. And there's an answer for that. You can go to 24-Hour Fitness, LA Fitness, Gold's Gym, UFC Gym, LA Boxing Gym, Planet Fitness. There's Club Bay. There's all these gyms that you can go to work out. So you can fix being fat and out of shape. Take your proteins and your amino acids and do some cardio and some weight training 2 to 4 times a week. You can fix being fat and out of shape. Run 5 to 10 miles, 15 miles if you have to. If a woman say you ain't got no job, you can get a job. You can get 2 jobs, 3 jobs. If a woman say I don't date men that ride the bus and take the train, You can always save up $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 cash, and you can get you a car. So you can fix that problem. If a woman say, well, your hair's messed up, you can always go to a barber and fix your hair. So you can fix that problem. Same thing if you go to the dentist and you get your teeth fixed. You can fix those problems. Then there are times where women reject us and it's based off of social media. You know, well, you ain't rich and famous, or you ain't a celebrity. You know, you don't sing, you don't rap, you don't dance, and you get rejected for those reasons. And you might be able to take some dancing lessons if you're a college major. You might try to become an actor, but that don't necessarily mean you're going to be rich and famous like some of these big name actors we see in Hollywood. So you can fix the vast majority of the problems that you face. Now, rejection. Now, why is rejection a good thing? Now, some people might say, well, rejection's bad, man. Well, it all depends on how you look at it. See, back when I was a little kid in the 1990s, and I used to hear stories about this, and I used to laugh at this. And my teacher in high school used to look at me like, that's not funny. That back in the late 1970s and the 80s and some part of the 1990s, there were a lot of guys who would graduate from high school and to college. And by the time they graduated from college, they were expected by their parents and grandparents to find a female, a mate, to have kids and grandkids with. Problem was, by the time the guy got like 27, 28, 29 years old, for 3 years, he kept getting rejected by beautiful, attractive women. And there was this thing back in the 70s and the 80s and some part of the 1990s that if a man got between the ages of 30 to 35, that meant something was wrong. Like, you should have already got married and had kids by now. Like, why is it taking you a decade or a decade and a half to do it? And a lot of these guys would get depressed. They would get the smoking, the drinking, doing drugs, turn into a life of crime. And a lot of these guys were college students doing this back in the day. And they would lock themselves in the garage with the car and turn on the carbon dioxide. And you can kind of fill in the blanks from there. Then there would be some guys that would go buy them a gun. They wouldn't necessarily do shootings like today, but they would take themselves out of the equation because they couldn't get laid and have kids and get married like their parents and grandparents did. And the Japanese said that's called self-sabotage, where if you came back from World War II as a Japanese jet fighter pilot, you brought dishonor and shame to your family because you failed. Like, in the Japanese, they expect you to go out there and fight and not come back. You come back, you bring disgrace. So a lot of the American men in the 1970s and 80s and some part of the 1990s felt that they were bringing disgrace to their parents and their grandparents' last name. So these guys could not face their parents and grandparents in their 30s and say, well, I got rejected 5 times or 10 times or 15 times. What do you want me to do? So they didn't have an answer for that. And that's why I say if you look at it in a bad way. Now, what I'm about to say to you is going to be a big, big shock. Rejection is actually a good thing, because rejection actually not only reveals the person's true intentions, it motivates you. It's like a competitive fire. Now, what I mean by that is I'm going to use a name that is so recognized, so universal, and when I say the name, you'll know what I mean when I say it. James Bond. Now, we all know James Bond is the ultimate alpha male. He is the man's man. He is the quintessential action hero. He is the one that made it possible for movies like Mission Impossible, Bourne Identity, Triple X, and so many other secret agent Hollywood films what they are today. If it weren't for James Bond, those movies would not exist. And the one thing that stands out in James Bond films is that there is one woman that James Bond falls in love with that he always gets rejected by. Medi Petty, right? 99.99% of the time, James Bond gets all the other women in the movies, but there's always this one woman that he tries his absolute best to get with, and in all those James Bond films, in all 23 films, he is rejected by the woman he wants the absolute most. Any other woman James Bond can get, but when it comes to this one woman, James Bond is rejected. And James Bond is a handsome, good-looking guy. He like 6 feet to 6'1". You know, he's handsome. He's got good looks. He knows martial arts. He can speak 50 different languages. He drives 50 different types of cars. And the guy's an international spy / agent. He kills the bad guys. He gets the girls. But he always gets rejected by this one girl. I want a lot of you men to start putting yourselves in the mindset that you are James Bond. That every time you go out to the nightclubs, the golf clubs, the sports bars, college, work, on the road, at the gym, put yourself in that mind frame that you are James Bond. And I don't care which James Bond movie you watch, you can watch all 23 films and everything I'm saying is absolutely true. He gets every other girl except for the one that he wants the most. Who's another person we know that can get any female he wants, but when it comes to this one female, he gets rejected? Bruce Wayne, right? Whose alter ego is what? Batman. Batman is able to get every other single female except for the female he wants the absolute most. And you know who I'm talking about when I say Batman. You've seen Batman with Harley Quinn. You've seen Batman with Poison Ivy. You've seen Batman with Catwoman. You've seen Batman with the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. But if you look at an animated movie called Batman the Mask and Phantasm, you will notice in that movie, Batman, before Bruce Wayne was Batman in his prime, in the cartoon timeline, he was rejected by the daughter of the Mask of Phantasm. He got rejected by her. And if you watch the comic books and the stories leading up to that animated movie, you will notice Batman has the same problem as James Bond. He can get every other female except for the one he wants the absolute most. He gets Selena Kyle, Catwoman. He gets Poison Ivy. He gets Harley Quinn. He gets the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. He even gets his best friend's girlfriend, you know, Dick Grayson as Nightwing. He even gets Batgirl. For quite out loud, Batman gets Batgirl. He gets Batgirl. He gets Wonder Woman. So Batman can get every other female except for the one that he wanted in the movie of the Mask of Phantasm. So that's two prime examples. And when you go to high school and you go to college, you always ask yourself, how come I can't never get the females I like? You know, she's a cheerleader. She's on the dance team. She's an actress. You know, I want the supermodel chick, or I want the actress chick. And the vast majority of us, 99.999% of the time, we never seem to ever get the females we want. But we always get every other good, cute, good-looking female. Which brings us to self-improvement. Now, self-improvement is not a pickup artist or a dating coach tactic. It's not a formula. It is a method that is to help self-improve yourself. Now, I know some guys going to say, well, I've done that, and I still can't get the girl that I want. I always get a woman that make me work and work and work and work and work for her attention. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you on a little secret. Did you know 99.999% of the time when a woman make you work to get her attention and exclude you away from conversation? Like, let's say this girl's talking to 5 guys. And you come up and now it's 6 guys she's talking to. But she talks to these 5 other guys. But every time you come up, It's always you got to work to get her attention. It's always you got to talk to get her attention, but she's always busy. Oh, I'm having lunch. I'm having dinner. Well, in one respect, is a nice way of saying I don't want to talk. I don't want to be bothered with you. But in reality, what's actually really happened is she's making you work for her attention. Did you know that when you are doing self-improvement to get the girl that rejected you, that you're actually putting in so much work that you're actually going to attract the attention of other females? Subconsciously, you're not even going to be aware that you're getting the attention of other women. So you spend all your time and energy talking to one girl and you get rejected 5 times, 10 times, 15 times. Hell, you get rejected 20 times in 7 months. And all that time that you're self-improving yourself, there are 2 girls, 3 girls, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 girls from a far distance that is watching you put in so much work that they're all beginning to take notice. Now, they're not going to say nothing right away because they're not going to give away their position. They're not going to say, hey, yo, what's up? Because that would be telling on themselves. They're going to watch you from a far distance. And they're going to see if you're going to do exactly what you said you're going to do. Self-improve yourself. So you got a total of 9 women watching you from afar. And these are super sexy, hot, attractive ass women watching you. Now, you might get some women that's high class, middle class, and low class. So that's why I said 9 women. There might be cases where you might get 10 to 15 women watching you. But you don't know that because they're not going to open their mouth like how I'm talking to you in this video and say hi. But they're going to watch. And what's going to happen is one of them is going to come in for the move and introduce themselves to you. And you're never going to know which one it is. And the girl that you got rejected by 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, you got rejected by 20 times, she's going to begin to take notice of you because another girl's talking to you. I'm going to tell you what's the difference between real attention and fake attention. This is something that pickup artists and dating coaches do not tell you in their seminars. And if they do, they make you waste $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 cash. And they never tell you this. I'm going to tell you what's the difference between real attention and fake attention. Fake attention is when you talk to a black girl, if you're a black man and you just love you some black women. Like you don't care if they're ghetto and all that other stuff. And she don't talk to you. But when a white woman or a Latino woman or an Asian woman talk to you and you're a black man, now all of a sudden the black woman is interested in talking to you. And the only reason why the black woman is super nice to you all of a sudden is because there's competition between the white girl and the black girl. That's called fake attention. Because everybody knows if you make the white girl, the Latino girl, and the Asian girl disappear like that, and you try to talk to the black girl without those other females, it's the N-word, please. Get away from me. You weak. You ain't got no game. You don't play basketball and football. You don't rap. You don't sell drugs. That's what you're going to get from today's modern day black woman. Now, I'm not saying all black women are like that, but you got some that do that type of behavior. That's called fake attention. Now, what is real attention? When it's real, you know it's real, it feels real, and the person come off with a natural level of energy, and you can feel their aura, and you can trust them. You know, you vibing, you crack jokes, they laugh. They crack jokes, you laugh. That's real attention. You do something wrong, you apologize. They do something wrong, they apologize. That's real attention. Fake attention is, I'm only talking to you because someone else is. That's called fake attention. So that's the difference between real attention and fake attention. Now, as a man, self-improvement is good. Now, I know some guys are going to say, well, what about if I put in all this work and nothing happens? Now, when you first do self-improvement, it don't happen overnight. Self-improvement is like when you go to school and your teacher gives you a D or a fail and tells you do the assignment over. So you do the assignment over and the teacher give you a D. And the teacher tell you if you want a better grade, do it again. So you do the assignment over 3 times. You get a C. You pass the class, but you're not happy that you got a C. Well, that's what self-improvement is. Keep doing it over and over until you get it right. Now, self-improvement is broken down into 4 different stages. And when you graduate from one stage to the next stage, and here's the good part about self-improvement, you got to hear other people tell you you self-improve. You can't say I self-improve by yourself. Like someone like your mom or your dad, your uncle, your auntie, your friends at college, your co-workers at work. Somebody has to see your level of improvement. Like when I go to the gym, I get a lot of people that actually think I'm a bodybuilder or a personal athletic trainer. I get some people that think I'm a basketball player, a football player, because when I go to the gym, I train like an athlete. I train like I train people. And when I walk out the door, the first thing I get hit with is, are you a personal athletic trainer? Are you a bodybuilder? Are you a weightlifter? Are you a basketball player, a football player? If I focus on my hygiene, a lot of people start thinking I'm a Kevin Kline model, which I've never modeled my entire life. But people go, are you a Kevin Kline model? You got to hear people say you self-improve. You can't say it. They have to say it. It's like in the hood when a game banker says, I'm the man, and the homies go, yeah, he is the man. Well, self-improvement is just like that. Somebody has to open their mouth, a complete, total stranger that you don't know, and say, that man is the man. So if a guy says, do you work out? That's self-improvement. If a girl walk up to you and say, do you go to the gym or do you play basketball or football? That is self-improvement. That means you're getting people's attention. Now, what's the difference between self-improvement and tricking? Tricking is when you pay for ass. You know, you pay for sex because you can't get laid, because you've been rejected 5 times. You've been rejected 10 times, 15 times. You've been rejected 20 times. And you feel like that in 5 years or in 10 years, since I'm not getting anywhere with no women, I might as well pay for sex. Did you know that when you pay for sex, the women that you pay to have sex with don't even respect you? So if you get rejected by women for free and they don't respect you, well, tricking just amplifies what's already terrible. So if you've spoken to 15 women without tricking and they don't respect you, well, the results are going to be the same thing. Self-improvement, on the other hand, makes a person that either already respects you more, and people who don't respect you all of a sudden respect you. That's what self-improvement does. And it makes you grow. What kind of basketball player would Michael Jordan have been if it weren't for the Detroit Pistons? What kind of basketball player would Kobe Bryant have been if it weren't for him going through what he went through when he lost Shaq? What kind of basketball player would LeBron James have been if he didn't go to Miami and learn how to win? Now, when it comes to women, when women do reject us, some women do have a certain level of arrogance. Like they think they're too good to talk to us. Now, some people say that's a bad thing. I'm going to say that's actually a good thing. I'm going to tell you why. Because some of the woman's arrogance is going to rub off on you. Oh, yes, it is. It's true. It's damn true. Woo! Kurt Angle true. Look at Floyd Mayweather Jr. 20 years ago, black women told Floyd Mayweather Jr., I don't date short black men. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. said, okay. And once Floyd Mayweather Jr. became the greatest professional boxer of all times, 50 wins, undefeated, 8-time world champion, and crossed over into another sport and still remain undefeated? Floyd Mayweather Jr. is arrogant, okay? There are guys that I went to high school and college with that are arrogant as hell. And these be some of the most finest black supermodels, white supermodel women, and they reject some of the most finest women. And a woman would be like, oh, hell no. How you gonna turn down this ass and titties? I'm fine as hell. And some guys be like, I'm good, I'm straight. And the girl be like, I got big breasts, I got a big butt, I look like Beyonce, I look like Tyra Banks. How you just gonna turn this down? And there are some men who are arrogant, not necessarily confident, but arrogant enough to look at a woman that's an 8, a 9, or well, 9s or 10s, and look at a woman that's a 9 or a 10 and say, I'm good, thank you. And the woman be like, he got to either be on some crack cocaine, some crystal meth, not to notice how fine as hell as I'm looking. And there's some men bold enough to do it. And you know why the men do it? Because they have self-improved themselves to the point where they can get any woman they want. Women do it all the time. And when you get a man that's arrogant, think of Michael Jordan, think of Kobe Bryant, think of LeBron James, and most importantly, think of Floyd Mayweather Jr. Guess what? You self-improve to those levels, you can get any female you want. And of course, women are going to call you an asshole and a jerk. But I'm just trying to explain in this video that rejection is not always bad. It all depends on how you look at rejection. We all get rejected. You go in for a job interview. You may have the qualifications, you may have the skills, you may have the training, but by the end of the day, there's like 500 people that you're competing with for a job. And out of the 500 people, they're going to ask why we should take you over the other 500 people. Only 1 or 2 of you are going to get the job, and the rest of you are going to have to look for another job. And women are kind of like that. So self-improvement can do wonders. Whenever you see 2 girls fighting over a guy, it's because of self-improvement. One girl rejected this guy 5 times, and the guy self-improved himself 2 years later, or 3 years later, or 4 years later. He self-improved himself, and all of a sudden the girl wanted the guy back, but not until another girl wanted the same guy. That's why you always hear them say on the internet that the theory is 80% of women are chasing 20% of the men. Well, that's because 20% of the men are doing a thing called self-improvement. If more men did self-improvement, more women would chase after them. And you would have 2 women, 3 women, 4 women, 5 women fighting over you. Now, I'm not saying you should do that because some guys like the idea of 5 women fighting over them. But then there are guys that just want 1 woman because they just want 1 woman. So I'm trying to explain as much of the phenomenon as I possibly can. So there's a lot of information to take in. I'm sorry this video might be slightly longer, but I'm just trying to explain what self-improvement is. And in maybe future videos, we might come back and revisit the topic because there's a lot of information being thrown at you. Some of you guys understand what I'm talking about. Some of you guys are a little confused. So there might be future videos explaining the phenomenon on why I say rejection is actually a good thing, because if it weren't for rejection, you would never become a better version. Think about it. If you didn't get rejected, then you would never learn how to handle rejection when it does come. It's better to get rejected now than to get rejected later. It's like when you get in trouble with the police, it's better to face the police now than to face them later. So it's almost like the same rule, except for we're not talking about the police. I'm just giving out examples. So that's all I have to say in this video. Until next time, peace.